Well, let's pick up where we left off. We were talking about the labor theory of value. We're talking about the haves and the have-nots. We're talking about Karl Marx's critique of capitalism. And I want to digress from my notes here and just back up just one more step here and talk about Karl Marx's view of the marketplace itself. From a Marxian position, the way the rich get richer and the poor get poorer is the capitalists have figured out a way of stealing or expropriating the wealth that the worker produces. So he looked at the world as if every transaction out there is a win-lose transaction. He looks at the world, and the world is only so big. It's big, but it's only so big. It's not infinitely big. It's only finitely big. And so that means that everywhere somebody walks, excuse me, you're on my private property here. Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, excuse me, you're on my private property. Where's the guy supposed to walk around? Get your own private property and walk on that one. Okay, but every bit of it, somebody says, hey, that's mine. So how did it get that way? Well, in every transaction, from Karl Marx's perspective, there's a winner and a loser. There's a winner and a loser. I'm going to try to give you some illustrations here. Your car starts vibrating when you go to class. As it's vibrating, you go, that vibration's not good. You know, vibrations in mechanical things are not good. They tend to self-destruct with enough vibration. So you take it to the mechanic, and you don't know anything about cars. And the guy says, yeah, if we looked at it, you got a bad wobble shaft. You need a new wobble shaft. It'll be about $400. Put it in there. Will that fix it? Yeah, I'll fix it. Okay, put on a new wobble shaft. There's no such thing as a wobble shaft. You mean some mechanics would actually take advantage of the ignorance of some poor young girl that just got their car and she doesn't know axle, wobble shaft, whatever, just fix it. Do you think that some mechanic, none that you know, but some mechanic might just see somebody in that predicament and take advantage of their mechanical car ignorance? Yeah, probably some. I don't know of any personally, but I suppose there are some out there. Now, how does that person make their money? They make their money by being smarter than the person they're dealing with. So from a Karl Marx perspective, every transaction has to do with who was it? P.T. Barnum said that there is a sucker born every minute. Let me add a corollary to that. There's a sucker born every minute, and your job as a business person is to get to them first before they spend their money with some other sucker, right? So who wins? The people that are smart. And who loses? The people that are, yeah, you can say it, it's all right, it's from this perspective. So these capitalists have been smart enough to figure out how to take the value away from the workers. Now, since we're talking about this, there's another option. There's another option. Suppose that you just signed up for a military tour, but you've got to crank out this newsletter, maybe origami stuff that you do in a newsletter, something like that, and your subscription is going to go for another month or something. You don't want to buy a copy machine just for 1 month, brand new one anyway, so you go to Joe's hole-in-the-wall used copy machine place, and you buy one that he said was only used by a little old lady once a week for a Sunday school class. There are only 4 people in her Sunday school class, and so it's just like a brand new piece of copying machine that hardly anybody ever used, and it's such a deal at only half price. And you go, that's better than paying full price, so you pay half price. And you take it home and you run it, and about a week later, the major component, the drum or whatever it is, it just gives up the ghost and it's gone. And you happen to tell your brother-in-law that, oh man, now I got to go get another copier because this one doesn't work. Well, just take it back to wherever you got it. It's got to be under warranty. Well, I didn't buy a new one. You should have bought a new one because it's been under warranty. Yeah, but they cost too much. Where'd you get it? I got it at Joe's Hole in the Wall place down here. You bought it from there? And he said it was only used by a little lady on a Sunday school class, maybe 3 people, 4 days. That thing was beat up. Boy, did you get ripped off. I mean, he must have seen you coming. How could you be so dumb? No, I might be dumb, but he didn't rip me off. Well, yes, he did. You gave the money. You gave a piece of crap for a copy machine, and now you got to go buy another one. No, he didn't rip me off. Certainly sounds like he ripped you off. No, I paid him in counterfeit money, and the ink will run before he gets to the bank. Now, in that case, who wins? Nobody. It's just one crook trying to kind of out-crook the other crook. In that case, they both wasted their time. They both just wasted their time. Now, if there's a win-lose possibility, there's also a lose-lose, but is there another category that Karl Marx seemingly never embraced or never believed it exists? Class? Win-win. Win-win. By the way, if do you know anybody that you've done business with that tends to think like this? In order for me to win, you gotta be dumb and lose. On the other campus over there, as a thought experiment, let's say I give you a big leather glove. No, I'll give you a big rubber hammer. You could take a big rubber hammer, and I got a big old leather glove. And you just follow me out in the parking lot. And we'll go on the side of campus where all those other students that go to that other school park, okay? You follow me, and when I see an antenna, I go, and you take that big old rubber hammer, ka-bonk, right in the side of the car. And then I go to the next one, push, kabonk, push, kabonk, all the way down the whole parking lot. Does sound like fun, doesn't it? Yeah, it shows how we think. And when they come out, they will see that their car has been customized. I said customized. Now, the reason we did that is because we have some friends in the auto body repair business. And it wasn't a bad winter, and not too many fender benders. And so they didn't have a very good Christmas, and they need some more work. And so what we want to do is we want to help the economy. We want to have more employment, and we also want to help our friends in the auto body repair business. So after they come out and they see their car's been customized, what are they going to do? They're going to go get it fixed to our friends, and now they're going to spend their money, and everybody starts spending money. And what makes an economy grow? When people spend their money. Illustration number 1. Let me give you another illustration. Now, maybe it's just me because I'm crazy and I think like this. But I can remember sitting in a dentist chair, and the dentist says, well, it looks like we're going to have to fill this one, maybe a root canal on this one, and I'm thinking, ka-ching, ka-ching, dollar signs, you know, and I'm going, hey, give me a mirror. Let me look at that X-ray. Let me check that. Because did it ever occur to you that maybe when he says that you need to have some dental work done, that he might really be thinking that he's got a cottage on the lake that he needs to make a payment on, and you might be that payment for his cottage on the lake, and that's why you need some dental work? I mean, did anything like that, did that ever go through your mind? Am I the only one that ever thinks like that? I'm not the only one. No, thank you very much. I'm not the only one that thinks like that. Well, that's why they're called professionals, lawyers, dentists, doctors. Because they're supposed, according to their code of honor, they're supposed to think about the other person's benefit more than their own, because there's no way I can tell. I mean, you got the X-ray, you got the experience. If you say it needs to be done, I guess it needs to be done. How am I to know? I don't know a wobble shaft when I see one, right? But could it be that that person wins because you're just a little bit gullible and he says you need a lot of dental work, so I guess you need a lot of dental work, and he gets your money? Now, if you think like that, or if somebody thinks like that, then we're talking about a Marxian, Karl Marx view of the world, that in order for one person to win, somebody else has to lose. For one person to win, somebody else has to lose. But there's another option. Well, before I get to that, let me tell you a personal example. I'm on to examples, so I'll tell you a personal example here. In a very earlier period of my life, I was dealing with precious metals and coins and things like that. And so we had a business opportunity of someone, I'm going to have to disguise the names of the faces here, who was collecting scrap. He was collecting scrap. It was just in the era where we were going from mechanical switching stations for telephones to electronic. And when we had mechanical switching of telephone and long distance, all that sort of stuff, you actually have connectors, and you'd have silver and gold connectors and all that sort of stuff. And this associate was in the business of taking this material out and scrapping it out so they could bring in the new semiconductor solid state stuff. And what he would do with it is that he would take some of it and he would send it to a scrap dealer, and since there was gold and silver in it, sometimes he got a lot of money. And then other times he'd get hardly anything. And he kept thinking, well, I don't really know what it's worth. I don't have any way of segregating it. I can't really tell what it's worth. What I need is somebody that just will give me an average, decent price for all of it. And then they could take it apart, segregate it, and do all that sort of stuff with it. And so yours truly and another associate or two said, okay, we're game for that. We've looked into that. We can do assay. We can take things apart. We know how to segregate. We know how to do all those sorts of things. And so we plotted our business plan, and we know, okay, here's what we think it's worth. Okay. And so here's what we'll pay them for it right here. And then we'll do all the segregation. We'll go through all, we'll set it out. We'll do the assays. And so we'll make our profit margin off of this right here. So we will pay him this price here. And after we do our thing, we think that we can add enough value to it that we could get this price up here, and that'll be our profit margin. So we're in the business for a while, and you get one that's on there, one's above, one below, and one clear up here, and one over here, over here. And the winners, they more than made up for the losers for a couple months. And then all of a sudden, there were no more of these. They just didn't seem to happen. There were these, and these, and these, and these, and these, and these, and those. I go, wait a minute, this business plan's not turned out very well. I think we're just going to have to bow out. We must have been wrong in our forecast. No, don't do that. Don't do that. Just play the law of averages. Just keep going here. Well, okay, we'll dip into our savings a little bit more and keep on going, because on the average it's going to come back up and you'll get your profit margin again. Okay. Besides, there's this great big job that's coming up, just a super big job, and it's the one that you said that there's a lot of stuff in, right? That it's a really gold mine of stuff, and it's a couple acres big, something like that. Yeah, that would make up the difference. That would make up for all of our losses and then make it worthwhile again. So just keep on buying the stuff. Keep on buying this stuff down here until we get this one to go, and then everybody will be happy again. Okay? All right. We'll keep buying the stuff, even though it's way below what we thought. We'll keep doing it, and a couple weeks go by, and a couple weeks go by, and then pretty soon, well, when's that job going to happen? Well, there was a dispute between the general contractor and the subcontractor. Well, there was a dispute between the architect. Oh, there were some labor problems and all that sort of stuff. I was starting to get a little bit suspicious. So a friend allowed me to get in there and take pictures of all the stuff, and sure enough, it was. We'd learned enough that was really worth a lot of stuff. And that was worth a lot of stuff. And so finally he said, you know what? That job, it was so bad that it was up in upstate New York. The stuff was so bad and so worthless, it wasn't even worth trucking it back home. So rather than bringing it out here and paying the trucking, we just took it over the border to Canada and we just scrapped it out in Canada. You did what? Yeah, we just scrapped it out in Canada. Oh yeah, that stuff that was so worthless, you just scrapped it out and... Well, the bottom line was, he had learned with us what was the good stuff, what was the bad stuff. He would give us the bad stuff, and he'd take the good stuff and sell it himself. So it wound up to be a court dispute, and we were downtown in front of the judge, and he had his lawyer, and we had our fancy-dancy Cleveland lawyer and all that sort of stuff. And I'll never forget him being on the stand, and our lawyer asked him, well, you know, if you had learned what was the good stuff, and you were selling them all the bad stuff, and you were keeping all the good stuff for yourself, it's just a matter of time till you're going to take all their money and drive them out of business. His response was, it's not my fault if some people are stupid. And sitting there, I felt like this. I am a loser. I am dumb. And because I am dumb and he is smart, that's how people make money. You just go out there and find dumb people and do business with them and take their money. That's how I know that there are some people who do think like that. Now, I'll close with this, and then I'll get back to this subject here. There exists, take my word for it, there exists this kind of relationship. And if you find people, take it from me, if you find people who think like in order for you to win, somebody else has to lose, don't walk away from them. Run. Run as fast as you can get away from that person. They're not good for you. Go find other friends or whatever. What you're looking for is and they're all over the place. What entrepreneurs are looking for is, how can we structure this deal so that you're better off and I'm better off after the deal. When it's all said and done, okay, that was good. Let's do that again. I agree. That was really good. I've been in some negotiations where we're sharpening our pencil and we're trying to get this bid as low as we possibly can. And my associates say, wait a minute. Are you sure you're going to be healthy on this? I mean, if we do this, are you going to make money and you're happy? I don't want you to get hurt on it. If you're going to get hurt on the deal, I don't want to do it. We'll go do something else with our life. Now I'm dealing with somebody I'm looking after that person's looking after me. When we can find a win-win transaction, when Mr. A trades with Mr. B, when the transaction is done, it's not take from one person and give to the other. Both people are better off. Both people are better off. And when both people are better off, those people are better off, what happens to Marx's pie when everybody starts doing win-win transactions? Rather than shifting the pieces of the pie from one person to another, taking this existing wealth and redistributing it, when we have win-win transactions in the economy, and that's what entrepreneurs do, they find those sorts of things. That's what they're supposed to do. That's what you're supposed to do in business. When we find that and we execute that, we're actually increasing the size of what I'll call Marx's pie. And not only do we personally benefit, but everybody in the macro economy benefits, because there's now more stuff out there for everybody. And your job as a business person to go knock down as many of these win-win transactions as you possibly can in your lifetime and make them as big as you can possibly make them in your lifetime. And you're not just helping yourself. You are helping yourself. But you're also helping the economy as a whole.